After I finished my service as a lone soldier in the Israeli army, I realized this was my defining moment. It's time for me to build success, create stories, and the financial freedom that I never had before. I used to be trapped with money, and now it empowers me. Since then, I've developed a multi-million-dollar financial advisory business, a podcast that has been featured on all the global media stations around the world. One of my favorite things to do is educate people on the mindset to build resilient wealth, build success, and have fun doing it. In my show, you will not only get best-of-class tips, amazing stories, a bunch of laughs, but you'll also get a mindset shift from a family of people who have come from nothing and will help you be ready to succeed. Welcome to the Resilient Riches Podcast. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Resilient Riches. We always talk about lowering cost. Today, we're going to talk about how to raise your revenue. And we're going to do it in a completely different aspect. The easiest way to raise revenue, the easiest way to make yourself employable always and never fireable is to actually be in sales, to actually bring revenue into your company. So today we brought a sales trainer, Stahl, who's been around the entire world teaching people how to sell, how to make themselves visible, how to make themselves known, and how to bring additional revenues to their companies, or how to start a company and actually have sales right away. So Jake, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. We're really excited for this conversation. We're going to teach people how to build money, how to build wealth, how to do it in a very different aspect that they're probably not used to, not collecting a paycheck, but bringing in a paycheck. So Jake Stahl, welcome to the podcast, everybody. We're excited to have you.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is quite an honor.
So Jake, let's just get right into it. What is the difference between somebody who's on the cost side of a company versus somebody who's on the revenue and sales side of a company? How should their perspectives on the company be?
In my opinion, when I work with companies where there's a cost and revenue side, they need to work together. Revenue can't create revenue on its own. It's revenue based on a team approach. Marketing has to work with sales, and legal has to work with sales, and HR has to work with sales. It's all one big team. Who's making the money is just a matter of position. But everybody needs to work as a unit, without a doubt.
Great. So we know that there has to be a strong foundation, strong cohesiveness. So if you look at like The Office, for example, the sales guys would treat everybody like garbage, but then the garbage guys would actually like ruin the salesperson. So we really have to make a great cohesiveness. How does somebody go from wanting to actually get into sales to starting actually selling, and what should be the first thing that they should be looking at before they jump into a sales career?
In my opinion, they need to really jump into sales that is not great. Door to door, cold calling, phone calls, something that gets them into the mud quick and dirty right away. Because the biggest failure for most salespeople is they start to take it personally. And when they start to take a no personally, then they start to do even less, or they accept low close rates, which to me is the ultimate sin, is accepting a 10 or 20% close rate. But if they can get beat up and they can get that callous, going into sales can be an amazing profession.
What do you mean by amazing profession?
Well, you really control your paycheck. As long as your company doesn't have an upper limit on what you can earn, you control it. You work hard, you work smart, you make more money. You slack off, you don't work smart, you make less money. Literally, your income is all incumbent upon you and how serious you take your job.
So what type of sales jobs can people go into that actually give them a nice life, a nice position in life, and an ability to grow?
It's going to depend on who you are. If you're a strictly commission-based salesperson, most companies will say the sky's the limit. You sell more, you make more, and that's it. So any commission-based company can be great. However, the failure rate there is also larger. So the larger the risk, the larger the return. But if you go into larger companies like manufacturing reps, even things like pharmaceutical reps or medical device reps, you can make an incredible living with both a salary and commission. And honestly, with something like a medical device rep, you can travel everywhere. So if travel's your game, you can get into something that'll give you the perks of travel plus the high income.
Yeah, I think there's a big trade-off between how much salary you're going to take from a company versus how much commissions that you can actually get and grow. So when people will talk to me and they say, hey, I want to do what you do, I wanted to get into sales, I go, okay, well, there's really no salary here, but there's unlimited commission. So you could do extremely well. Like my first year out of college, I made $250,000. There isn't another sales job that I find in any industry that allows a first year out of college to make that type of money in a short period of time. So once you do that, you realize, oh, okay, this is actually a really, really good profession. This is actually something that I could do with my life. But then 3, 4, 5 years down the line, you get beat up a little bit. And if you don't have that callus, you don't know how to handle it, you have to keep on pushing. So the amount, for example, on real estate brokers, no base, super high commissions, but and there's more real estate brokers than there are houses on the market today. So there's just so many salespeople trying to sell something that they don't even have, but most of the business goes to a few people. That's why there's like the 1%, 2%. But most of these people actually burn out within the first 5 years of business. In my profession, it's a 95% dropout rate in the first year. So how does somebody get past the dropout rate, and how do they get actually to a point that they're successful?
This is one of those things where I think we've always been taught that you got to do the features and benefits, and you just got to work hard and you got to grind. I literally believe the exact opposite. I think that you need to work hard, but you need to work on it smart. So here's an example. Your typical sales rep will find some sort of sales script, and they'll use it over and over and over and over again. And then they'll get a close rate of 5%, 10%, 20%, and they'll say, okay, I guess that's it. So if I'm going to close 2 out of every 10 and I need to close 4 people, I'm just going to approach 20 people. But that's kind of backwards, right? Because we don't think about anything in real life like that. I once read a study that said your chances of finding your soulmate on any given day is 1 in 365. Social psychologists did the study, found that to be the case. But I don't go out and say, I have to talk to 365 people before I find that soulmate. I gear myself towards every customer specifically. I gear my pitch towards them exactly. I use the right verbiage that's going to move business forward. I don't rely on the odds. I rely on my ability to prepare. But a lot of salespeople somewhere along the line lose that. They'll spend an hour looking for a YouTube video of 2 cats that they thought was funny, but they won't take 5 minutes to prepare for an exact presentation for the exact person based on the exact way they think. The sales reps that do that make colossal money with less work than your standard sales rep.
Yeah, I think preparation is crucial. If you're not prepared for something, and I start every second meeting or third meeting when it's an onboarding meeting, I go, I have some stuff for you that I'm prepared for, but is there anything that you want to start with me first? Because the big problem that people will have is that they go, well, he's not listening to me, or like they put a handshake out and it's like punched because you don't even know what they're talking about. They're like ready to go and you're like still selling. It's like, shut up, guy, move on. And like they're ready to go. Like you don't need to keep talking about it. You're gonna talk yourself out of a sale. So it is an art. But do you think that sales can be trained, or do you think that sales is a natural ability, or do you think it's a combination of the two? Can everybody get into sales and make the colossal money you're talking about?
Well, it's conditional. Can they? Yes, depending on what they're selling. Does what they're selling invoke passion, and are they able to talk about it so that a 5th grader can understand? If we assume everybody could do that, then yes, everybody can do sales. But my gut reaction after working with 10,000 people around the world, no, not everybody can do it. Not everybody is built for that sales process. Some people are built as just talkers and they're never going to listen. Some people are built as introverts and they're just never going to make that breakthrough. So I think there's some degree to which you need to be built for this process in order for you to be extremely successful.
Agreed. I mean, it really takes a lot of... I remember I asked my professor in university, I said, hey, I want to go into the financial advisory space. He goes, you got to have a really strong stomach for that. And then you realize, and I was dating somebody at the time, and I said to her, I said, I'm not making any money. And I was like, I'm going to puke every single day with how much pressure it is. And she's like, okay, keep going. Like, just what are we talking about? Like, just keep going. There's nothing else to discuss. You don't have a way out. You have nowhere else to go. You don't really have. This is really what you're good at. So why are you even talking about it? So, and I learned how to be okay with that type of stress and that type of pressure day in and day out. Now it's like, I don't even think about the pressure anymore. Like it doesn't even exist anymore. I also think because I have a lineage between my father, mother, grandfather on my mom's side, great grandparents have always been in sales. So it's always kind of been innate to us that you can make you can make something for yourself, and you can do it on your own ability. When does sales? When do you know what company to work for and to sell, and when is it a good time to get out? How do you identify the company to sell?
I think that you know when it's time to get out when you start having those Sunday night nauseated feelings. I had so many friends of mine who on a Sunday night, they're like, Jake, I just, like by noon on a Sunday, I'm already just anxious about the next day. And then I have a group of friends of mine who are like, I literally work Sunday afternoon because I wanted to. So to me, selling is about a passion. Do you believe in the product? Do you believe in yourself doing it? And do you enjoy it? This is going to go against what a lot of people think, but if you're not doing what you love, what you really enjoy, you're just missing out. You need to go after that thing that makes you crave to be on that phone or talking to a person, and it needs to be something you love to talk about. If you're a car salesperson and you love medical and you say, well, I'm just stuck in cars because I'll never get into medical, okay, stuck is the right word to use. You're limiting yourself. Get out of your own skin, get out of your own comfort zone, and go do it. On the other side of fear is an awesome life.
Agreed. So let's say somebody's trying to create a second income, and they're trying to do, okay, well, I'm a teacher full-time, but I know it's not enough income. And this is very, very common, especially with a lot of our listeners, is that they're trying to create supplemental income to build wealth. What's the best way to approach it so that they can start creating supplemental income, but not going in full time and not quitting their day job? Do you think it's even possible?
I do, and I was that person. So I was working full time for a company. I was with them for 16 years, and they were going down the tube slowly, and the writing was on the wall that people were just going to be let go in waves. So I started going out to my friends who I knew through this industry. And I said, listen, this is where it's going. You know what I'm capable of. Is there anybody that would be interested in talking to me? And I started to just network. So as I talked with each person, I told them what I wanted, told them what I needed. There is a great book out there that was written in the 80s. I don't even think it's in print anymore, called The Aladdin Factor. And it basically said, you want something in life, you ask for it. And you ask everybody all the time, and you picture it clearly. And if you have a passion and you're working full time, it's okay. Just dedicate an hour to it a night. Give it a little bit of effort and talk to people about it and tell them that's your dream. And you would not believe the way things start to open up for you. Because one thing that I've learned, you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang around with the most. Find those 5 people that are as concerned about your welfare and your success as you are. Glom onto them and have them start to make introductions for you. It's not going to happen overnight, so set realistic goals, but just continue to do it.
Yeah, and if you continue to do that, you actually learn all the different skills, and you learn this. It takes a 6 to 12 month runway to actually be successful, especially in sales.
I would agree.
So you need to prepare yourself to have that 6 to 12 month runway. But if you leave your job and start, the 6 to 12 month runway never even started. So I tell people who are trying to build a side income and a side hustle that they call it, just keep your day job, take an hour or two every single night, work on a Sunday for 6 months. And then if it works for you, great. Okay, there's something to talk about. Do it for a year. If it works for you, great. There's something to talk about. But you have to go through that. You have to learn what it means to actually go out and converse with someone. So I was talking to, I have a friend of mine who's a producer at a large media station, like a national, he runs a national media station. So he said, I'm just not making enough money. My kids are in yeshiva. It's too expensive. Like, it's not ends meet. I love what I do, but it's not, I just can't survive. So I said, why don't you go out and sell podcasts and go to different places and produce podcasts? That's like an unlimited scalable business. So for him, I said, you got to do it now while you're still at your company. So you have it for 6 to 12 months because you're not going to be able to survive if you just leave and go off on your own. That's how people fail. And that's when people need to start working. So you really need to set yourself up with an ability to succeed. If you can't set yourself up with an ability to succeed, you will fail. And there's nothing else to it. So, Jake, going into the process and going into how do people sell? So what would be the social psychology of somebody who is buying? So how should a salesperson go up to somebody and walk them through what we call a sales funnel?
My first piece of advice with all of my clients is don't talk about yourself for the first 2 to 5 minutes. Introduce yourself, but don't talk about you. Just talk to them about them. Anything that comes up, it's okay. Just let them talk about themselves. Psychologically speaking, when people talk about themselves, it's neurochemically equivalent to eating a chocolate cupcake. They prove this time and again. They get this neurotransmitter rush that makes them feel good. And as soon as they start to feel good about being with you, the process opens up. So that's always my first piece of advice. The second is make it all about them all the time. Stay away from I, me, mine. Go with you, your. Make sure the attention's all on them all the time. Mirror their language. Ask questions based on what they're talking with you about. And if you can't find a question, just mirror back what they said. It's an amazing technique that gets people to open up extremely well. And be passionate. Don't sell your product. Sell your passion for the product. Because I hear this all the time. I'm not a salesperson. Sure you are. You just sold me that you're not a salesperson. So use the passion you have to talk about what you enjoy and let that do the selling for you. I personally feel after all these years of being in sales as a sales trainer, we make sales way more complicated than it needs to be. It's not a process. It's a science. It's a practice. You get good at it.
What does it mean you get good at it? And how do you know that you're getting better and better? And how do you know that sales is for you?
My marker is always how little can I talk and still move you to action? And if I can talk less and less and you still wind up purchasing my product, I know I'm getting good at it.
Interesting. Dad, I'm going to let you jump in here. We've had some great takeaways for everybody. Jake, thanks for coming on. I'm going to bring my dad in. He's going to ask some questions, and then we're going to close this out. Dad, I know you could talk about sales for a long time. You've been in sales for about 50 years. Try not to give your sales history because you kind of tell in real time, and there's only so much that people can listen to.
So it's nice to meet you, Jake. Yair doesn't let me really talk about what I've done because it's been a long career, all in sales, but he doesn't let me talk too much. I guess he gets bored about hearing it over and over again. So I've got to curtail that. But you've given us some great takeaway points. And one area that's interesting to me, and maybe you can help us with that, is we've hired salespeople over time. So we do a lot of financial planning, we do a lot of insurance, and what you're saying is correct. It's not for everybody. But, I talk to people, they come in, I say, you know what, this is hard, this is not hard, this is, I'm great at this, I'm so good at this, this is going to be, I think this is going to be, and then, 6 months down the road, they leave, or even earlier, because, but how can we, and look for those kind of characters, Yair touched on it a little bit, but how can we look at those, characteristics of who will be a good salesperson? And as you said, you have to be passionate about what you do. So, but they don't know what they're going to be doing at the beginning. So how can we figure that out before we spend all this time with the wrong person?
I think some of the characteristics that I've looked for in hiring over the years is, first of all, when you sell, you have to address the customer's pain point. If you're not going to solve their problem, it's just not going to work out. So when they're interviewing with you, are they solving your pain point? Hey, listen, David, you know what? It sounds like you're having a tough job finding people. What are you expecting from me? How can I best meet your expectations? And then they sell to those pain points. So if I get somebody across from me that's trying to solve my problem, I know that they're going to be a good salesperson. The second is, do they not talk a ton? In other words, do they sit back and ask questions as well as giving information? If I get somebody that just spews all over me, it's definitely one of the markers that I look for to say, maybe this isn't the best thing. One thing I don't care for, David, and if you get hate mail for this, just go ahead and send it to me. I'm okay with it. Is if somebody says I'm a people person, that's a big X for me. If you have to tell me versus show me, then I don't think it's there. So I may be a little bit tougher than most, but those are some of the things I look for. I also look for ways, are they using good behavioral triggers with me? Are they looking for pain points with me? Are they asking the right questions? Are they using key words that are going to get me interested? Do they make me want to hear more about them? So those are some of the things I look for. I want a person that persuades, not just sells. I want people to buy from them. I don't want them to sell to people.
Those are all very good. Those are all very good points that we should keep in mind for the next time that we go down that tricky road.
Yeah, it's hard to hire.
It is. And David, one of the things that I would suggest is, what was the worst thing you ever went through in life and how did you come back from it? Let that person tell you what they did and how they struggled and how they rebounded, because that says everything. I went through a huge issue in my life that I lost everything. Lost my house, my marriage, my savings. And here I am 13 years later, a lot better than I was, but it takes a special kind of resilience to make that happen.
Right. So I don't know if you mentioned, but I've gone through my own financial, I didn't lose is what you're saying, but I don't have, I'm not living in the same house I lived in 15 years ago for whatever reason. My wife stuck by me, so that was a good part for her. But yeah, unless you go through something like that builds character, and it's true, it's a little corny maybe, but the tough get going when the going gets tough, and those are the people that are going to make it. But that's all I got for today, Yair. So back to you.
Great. Jake, how can people find you? How can people get connected with you? How can people learn more about you? I know a lot of your AI software is going to talk about role playing and how to better your sales. So can you just give your shameless plug?
Sure. So you can find me at orchestrate.com, and that's orchestrate with an STRAIGHT, like a straight line, not the standard orchestrate you would do to an orchestra. So it's orchestrate.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm the one who looks like me. If you're only listening to this, I'm the one that's the CEO of Orchestrate and Jake Stahl Consulting, so people can reach me there anytime.
Great. Jake, thank you so much for coming. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Investment advisory services are offered through Klyman Financial, DBA of the Partners Wealth Management, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. The content of this podcast is for information and educational purposes only and should not be construed as investment, legal, accounting, or tax advice, nor as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. The views expressed by the speakers are their own and may change without notice. No guarantee is made that the accuracy or completeness of the information discussed in past discussions, examples, or references to business experiences are not indicative of future results. Listeners should consult with their own financial professionals regarding their individual circumstances before making any financial or investment decisions. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training.